flies with angels, she runs with wolves. Part goddess, part gangster, part honest, part prankster. She flies with angels, she runs with wolves. Diamonds and daggers, she's mercy and anger. She flies with angels.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, gorgeous souls. Here we are. We've arrived for day 3, the final day, the completion day of Get Paid by God. And I'm going to share with you, I started feeling a little emotional as we logged in, as I hit start here today and came on to have this conversation because today feels like a big conversation. This is a big piece. And this really, like the conversations I'm bringing forward to you, like this is my holy work, guiding you in your connection with the truth within you, connecting you to the God within, allowing you to move from this place of deep conviction and knowing and truth and becoming so unwavering in who you are, and then getting paid for it. Because we can talk about being unapologetically you. We can talk about speaking your truth, standing in your truth, and I want you to get paid for it. I want you to experience the abundance that God wants to pour into you. I want you to experience the abundance of the world, and I want you to have the experience that living makes you money. Not what you do, but who you are, who you choose to be, and the wealth that you get to receive in accordance to that. And so today we're going to really drop deep. As I said, there is some emotion coming forward because there's things that I'm going to share with you today that feel vulnerable, that are rooted in my truth. And that's been like the full part of this journey that I've walked. I'm a line 6 in my human design, which means a lot of the codes that I share really come from sharing my truth, sharing my lived experiences, being the role model. If you're not tuned into human design, a line 6 is the role model frequency. And it is literally that I experience, I go through 3 phases. I experience, I process, and then I lead as a role model. And so within my mentorship spaces, oftentimes in a Telegram space, we have the $11 Telegram space open for this Get Paid by God experience, which by the way, if you're not in there, please come in and join us. Yesterday, I shared a 25-minute energy clearing to remove the interference around wealth and to activate the field of getting paid by God. So that's available. You get lifetime access to that. That's an $11 transmission, just one activation in there. So that place is hot, that place is fire. And I could go on and tell you a whole story about owning this aspect of me, owning that I lead these really powerful activations that are not meditations, that are not visualizations, that clients tell me they replace their Dr. Joe meditations, their morning meditations with these daily activations that I lead. I have clients tell me that these activations take them to places they've only been able to access via plant medicine. Like they're incredible. And sharing this tiny tidbit here, because for years I kept them hidden. For years, I thought, who am I to lead in this way? Who am I to put this forward? Who am I to claim that? Who am I to say that my clients find these more powerful than Dr. Joe's meditations? But once I started speaking the truth and sharing my experience and my clients' experience, that's when things grew. That's when things expanded. That's when the idea came in to launch my activation album, which is 11 different activations. God places these ideas in, God brings them forward because I'm willing to move. And then I get paid by God. The amount of people that have purchased these activation albums over the last 2 years since I first put them out is wild. It's really like it's really wild. And this is what I mean. You get paid by God when you move in the frequency of God, when you own who you are, when you stop hiding, when you stop doing things behind the scenes and only in your highest level spaces or your paid spaces. Like for years, I kept these activations hidden. For years, I would only offer them to my private one-to-one clients. and I wouldn't claim it. I wouldn't own it. I didn't stand in conviction. I was like, there's this little thing that I could like do for you, and it would help clear things in your field and transcend where you're getting stuck up in the mindset work, and so that you can really clear it at the energetic core level. Like, do you want me to record this for you? And this is like the voice I would say it in. I would be like so nervous saying it to them because I thought they might be like, I came to you as a business coach and you want to give me this like woo shit. But then I owned it and they've become one of the most powerful things, like what I'm known for, what clients come back to again and again and again. So this is it. It's like, can I own the things that I keep hidden, the things that I know to be powerful, the things that God's placed within me? Can I bring that forward? That's how you become a true energetic match for wealth. You harness your power. You take radical responsibility for being more of who you are. Because the thing is, and I see this so often, many women ask for abundance. Many women are praying for different experiences in life, but then don't operate in the frequency of abundance, don't operate in the frequency of freedom, don't operate in the frequency of self-ownership, owning the gifts that have already been placed within you. Instead, you operate from contraction. So it's like, I want wealth, but I hesitate, I hold back, I pull back when the decision to move comes in. I want you to become fully available for the things that you say you want. And in order to do so, that you need to be willing to be unapologetically you, to stand in conviction of who you are. Conviction transforms belief into knowing. And when you know because you know because you know, and you're so unapologetic about who you are, a woman who knows, she moves differently. She speaks differently. She decides differently. And therefore, she receives differently. Most women know what they want, but they don't move towards it. They write it in their journal and they tuck it under their bed. They ask in prayer, please God, please God, please God. They maybe whisper it to their best friend, but then it stops. There's no energy behind it. The frequency's like, I want, and it might not be possible. And I don't really want to put myself out there that way. And I don't want to be judged. And I don't want to have any negative experience that might come along with that. And so you stand still, either stand still or lean back or contract instead of stepping forward, standing in it. So you got to move towards it. And then the other thing, and this is why that power tracking is so important, is that women don't move towards the thing that they are praying for, the thing that they say they want, and they don't have the power to hold it. I'm pausing here because I want you to really feel that land for you. And it might feel like a gut punch for you. It might feel like a kick in the face. Do you have the power to hold the things that you say you want? And to be absolutely clear, you do have the power. You can absolutely stretch your capacity. You can harness this power, but you have to choose it. It's within your right to choose to hold that level of power. But most women unknowingly leak energy and they push away the very things that they claim that they want. The biggest one being money, which then we're often taught, told, we believe that this is a money block. So then all of a sudden you think you have a money block when it's most likely a power leakage. It's most likely that you're not standing in conviction. You're not willing to be unapologetically you. And it's not a real money block. It's most likely a belief block, a resistance block, an avoidance block. And this is why I hear so many women, they're like, I've done all the money work and all the money courses, and I don't even feel like I have a money block, but yet this is my bank account. So obviously I do. And this is definitely my story. So I've already shared with you that in 2019, I was $200,000 in debt. I had $12 in my bank account. And this was when I started to make moves. Like my business had already been successful. I was making moves in my business. I had invested in the mentorship that was $60,000 a year, $5,000 a month. And the first thing that I did when I went into this mentorship space, I was like, okay, let's like roll up our sleeves here. Let's find my money block. And I was like, but I'm going to start by saying, I don't really think I have a money block, but we're going to find my money block because obviously I have a money block because here's my bank account. Here's the negative $200,000 in the debt, and here's the $12 that's sitting in this bank account right now. And I had done I had done the money work up until that point. This was also when I was just starting to embark on the power work, so harnessing my power, doing the power tracking exercise. And here I'm going to bring in the second piece that you've been waiting for, that you wanted me to bring forward in day two. What was the second thing that I did? And how does it connect to this conversation? What did I just say there? Most often, it's not a money block, it's a belief block. It's a resistance, it's an avoidance. It's not stretching into the realm of what's actually available to you, into that field of potentiality, because we look at what we see right now and we make that mean something, and we bring the past into the now when we recreate in this loop, in this loop, in this loop, in this loop. And so we just create the same thing tomorrow because we're creating from old energy. We're creating from yesterday instead of standing in the ethers of now. And standing in the ethers of now means no matter what happened up until this point, I'm willing to look right now from clean eyes. I'm willing to look through the lens of God. I'm willing to not know what comes next in order to experience that which I don't know, in order to become the creator of the evidence. And so when we were looking for my money block, the mentor I was working with and myself, we really decided it didn't feel like I had a money block. And so she invited me into this, I'm going to say, little challenge, which ended up being massive for me, but started off feeling like a little challenge and felt ridiculous. Like, honestly, I was in so much resistance to this. I was like, why would I do this? This is stupid. This is dumb. This is embarrassing. Like, this isn't going to change anything. So why? And the invitation each day was to look at my PayPal account each day. And PayPal, you can say your bank account, your PayPal account, your Stripe account, whatever you use as a place where you receive money. For me at the time, I was receiving money through PayPal. And as I said, my business was already in motion. At this point, I had been about 2 years in my business. And so money was coming in. But how money mostly came in then was that I would create a bigger package, a bigger one-to-one package, and someone would come in and pay in full because I didn't do payment plans then. And so people would come in and pay in full. At this point, I was either 16,000 or 20,000 was the pay in full. And so I was an energetic match for big drops of money to come in. Like here and there, I would have big days where someone would come in and hire me one-to-one, and a 16K or a 20K payment would come in. I'm pretty sure it was 16 at that time. I also had a mastermind that was running that was 5K pay in full. And so those payments came in on certain days. And I had dabbled in the past. I had some courses that one was $21, one was $44. The $21 was a PDF course. The $44 one was a replay of a live masterclass that I did. And so there was there was things existing in my business. And yet, my belief was I could only get paid if I created the pathway. I could only get paid if I saw where the money was coming from, if I could anticipate the transaction. Because most of these conversations I would have for people coming into a 5K offer and a 16K offer, we'd have a conversation in the DMs. They'd be like, "Can I have the link?" They'd say, "Okay, I'm going to pay tomorrow." And so I was always looking for things in a very predictable, linear linear fashion. I wasn't open to money just like literally dropping in. It was like if I don't create the pathway, like there is no pathway. Unless I direct them, there is no pathway for people to buy. And so my mentor at the time asked, she's like, "Well, check your PayPal every day." And I was like, "But why? Like really, there is no pathway for people. Like I know it's coming." So again, like this is just gonna feel so stupid to look every day. And so I started looking every day. And in the beginning, my self-righteousness came in and I was like, see, I'm right. There is no magic money arriving in here today. Like no money, same as it was yesterday. And I went for about a week like this, being like, this is stupid, this is dumb. Like, I already know that there's going to be no money, so why am I even going to open PayPal again today? And then I started to get really frustrated. I'm like, this is really going to be the advice from this mentor? Like, just look at your PayPal every day and maybe it will change one day. Like, no, this is ridiculous. This is not going to change because I was so stuck in the way that I knew money came into my world. People send me a message, I have a conversation with them, I send them a link, and then they pay me. And at this point, when I got frustrated enough and I was like, this is stupid, not doing it anymore, the mentor said to me, she said, is it possible that money could come in without you knowing it? And I was like, well, what do you mean? She's like, well, are there links anywhere? She said, you have this $21 thing you did last year, you have this $44 thing you did. Could people still buy that? I was like, well, okay. If like you're asking me in court and I have to tell the truth, is it possible? It's possible because I recorded a podcast when I was selling it. And so someone could go back and listen to that podcast and find that link and buy it. So, like, possible, but highly unlikely, but possible. I was like, okay, fine. I'll play with like, it's possible. It's possible. It's possible. It's possible. But that's like, this is the energy. I was like, it's possible and unlikely. It's possible and it's not going to happen. Like, yeah, it happens for Jenny and Susie and Laura, but like, they're more established in their business. They have a bigger audience. People actually go back and listen to your podcast. They have evidence. This has happened to them before. This has never happened to me. This is likely not going to happen to me. I don't want to be in this mastermind full of women saying I'm checking my PayPal every day, and every day they're like, ooh, any money today? And I have to be embarrassed and say, nope, same as yesterday, same as yesterday. Yep, still no one bought. And this went on for about 3 weeks. For about 3 weeks, I felt ridiculous. I felt embarrassed. I felt shame when people ask if there was any new money coming in. I felt like it is never going to happen. And then finally, I was like, this is ridiculous that I'm putting so much energy into this, into the idea that it's not going to happen, that I'm so caught up in my own mind about what other people think of me. Because I'm like, I really don't think the other people are really thinking that much about me. They're asking me the question and they're moving on because they got their own lives and their own businesses to run. And so I decided to stop making it mean so much. I was like, instead of getting my energy all in this knot every day, checking PayPal, thinking it was ridiculous and it wasn't going to happen and it wasn't going to work and I was going to be disappointed, I decided that it was okay to be disappointed. I was like, okay. I stopped expecting disappointment and I was more like, okay, if there's no money today, I might feel disappointment for a second and then I'm gonna move on. And feeling disappointment for a second was the key here. That I'm allowed to feel disappointment and I'm allowed to keep moving. That I don't need to make the disappointment mean anything. Whereas in the 3 weeks prior, I'd open it up, I'd feel that either like, oh, I knew it, that self-righteousness, I was right, or I'd feel disappointment coming in. Because at one point it just got like, again, disappointing. It's like what's like really what's the point? This is disappointing. But then I started to learn I can hold disappointment. I can move when I'm disappointed. I can tap into the field of potentiality when I'm disappointed. And do you know how that served me today? A year ago, I sold out a mastermind that I was leading, and 33 women came into this mastermind. It was a 10K mastermind. It sold out, so 33 women came in. There was at least 90 people who asked for information and who asked for links that said no, or just ghosted me, who asked for links and then I never heard from again. So imagine if those 90 people, if I was like, I can't hold this, I can't hold this, no, I can't hold this disappointment. Well, then the 33 wouldn't have came in. The 33 wouldn't have got served. And if you've just done the math, the $330,000 wouldn't have been received into my bank account because I wasn't a woman. If I hadn't been a woman who could harness my power, hold the disappointment, hold the nose, and still fucking move. And so it's not about never have fear, never feel shame, never feel disappointment. And it's not about just push through and take it like a man and persevere. It's feel it and don't make it mean anything about you and don't let it distract you from your mission. Stop letting it distract you from your mission. And I will tell you, after 3 weeks, one day I opened PayPal and there was $21 in PayPal that I had never seen coming. And it was from someone I didn't know. And they had listened to that podcast that I had recorded way before, and they bought the thing, and you would have thought that person paid me $1 million. Like I said, I was used to big payments. I was used to like 10K, 16K, 5K, just like drop in. But this $21 payment, if I was gonna like honestly like frame a payment and put it on a display in my house, it would be this $21 payment. Do you want to know why? Because it showed me what I thought wasn't possible actually was. It shifted my belief code in an instant. It opened me up to, wait, there are things that I don't know here. There are things that I don't need to figure out. And when I'm actually willing to just let it be, to not control it, to not judge it, to not force it, to not say it's ridiculous, I open up the pathway for God to enter, for God to show up in deliverance of the person who didn't even know me before she bought the thing. I couldn't have seen that coming. So I had to be able to get out of my own way in order to open up the pathway for the unknown. So if you want to experience things you haven't experienced before, you have to open up the pathway for that. But if you're sitting from a seat of control and need and forcing and should, and you decide everything's going to have your fingerprints on it instead of God's, well, then you're just going to keep experience that which you can see, that which you can make happen, that which you can control. So this is again where we don't become the energetic match for the thing that we say we want. How many of you have said, I want to experience abundance and overflow. I want to experience wild wealth. I want to have way more impact than I'm having right now. I want to have a quantum leap. Are you moving in the frequency of wild wealth? Are you moving in the frequency of quantum leaps? Or are you retracted in your field? Do you stop moving because of experiences that you've had or experiences that you're in avoidance of that you do not want to have? We're going to really get in here. We're going to get in here. Hold on, what is the frequency of quantum leaps? And so this is where, so what's quantum? Quantum means it's not predictable. You aren't figuring it out. You can't see how it happens. And so it's making moves that don't make sense up here, but make sense right here. It's having like quantum leap. It's like you're leaping, but not leaping from a place of like manipulation, like, well, let me do this thing so that I like don't make it transactional. Don't make it like I'm gonna leap here so that God can leap here. That's not the way it works. It's like true leaps. It's like when you feel called. You've felt this before. You felt called to make that leap. And that leap might be investing in a place like Employed by God. That leap might be that you've always been talking about business coaching and you feel called to be like, actually, there's this spiritual side of me and I'm going to make the leap and I'm going to start talking about God because like that's what feels true for me. Obviously, I'm giving you a little bit of my own story here, but it's like whatever that feels like to you. The leap literally might be I write on social media every day, but I've been called to show up with my face and to use my voice and to let people really see me. That can be the leap for you. It's doing the thing not from up here that makes sense, like, oh, this is what other people do, so this is what I'm going to do. It's following that nudge, leaping into the unknown. And people talk about this space like in between where you have the feeling, the desire, and the experiencing of it. And some people call it the void. I do not like that word. I do not like that energy. For me, that feels dense, that feels heavy. But I bring in, this is the unknown. This is the moment in between. Feel my energy around that. The moment of in between, the moment of the unknown. It's like if I can surrender in the unknown, if I can move in the unknown, that's where the magic happens. That's where the thing that can enter that I wasn't figuring out, that I wasn't making happen, the thing that doesn't even make sense to me right now. And so for me, the frequency of a quantum leap is very much in like I'm ready, I'm willing, I'm available. And there's some like willing and unwilling energy here, which we'll talk about in a moment. But it really is this like I'm all in essence. I'm all in for the human experience and the soul journey, and I'm all in, and I don't need to see it happening. I don't need to see it coming. I don't need it to be predictable. I'm not going to control it. I'm all in, and I'm following each and every nudge. It's so easy for me to trust that God's conspiring in my favor because I'm conspiring in my favor. That means I'm following the nudges. I get the intuition and I obey, even when it's scary, even when I can't see how it's going to work out, even when it doesn't make sense. That for me is the essence of the quantum leap. Now I said we're gonna get in here. So I'm gonna share with you. I shared that I often share experiences, like I have the experience, I process, and then I lead in the role model frequency. I'm gonna share right now something that's currently happening. And to be honest, this might sound very naive, but I really didn't even consider this. And I think this is because I am just so in my lane of like, this is my holy fire, this is my truth, this is my mission, that I don't really consider people not liking it. I don't really consider people not liking me. Like it's just something that it doesn't even like there's not even a filter it goes through. And I sometimes then get met with these like interesting experiences. I touched on this on day one, but like in the book that I just wrote, I mean, I would not call it disruptive in nature other than the fact that I know that truth is disruptive. I know that saying the word God and money in the same sentence is disruptive. I know that when I talk about God and say the word fuck at the same time, people don't like that. It's uncomfortable. And so I've just had this experience where the editor was like, I do not like this. This is harmful. This is uncomfortable. Change these words, which I've already shared the story. Like I absolutely different didn't. So when you go read that book, you'll know it's untouched. I stood in my power and my truth and my conviction and let that holy essence be birthed through me. But it's like I've been used to being met in some experiences like that. My first book, I wrote about an experience of infidelity in my marriage. Used to people like, not loving me in certain ways. Didn't really consider that like right now, who I am and the power that I hold and my willingness to be the conduit of God and speak about this energy and get paid by God and employed by God. Again, just the I was like, yeah, the people that resonate with this, they're gonna come, and the people that don't, they're not going to. And I, again, maybe naive, I didn't really think about using the words get paid by God and employed by God would make people fucking angry. Like angry, angry, angry. I'm the type of person, if there's things that I don't like I just move on. I would unfollow that person. Whatever it is. And yeah, I honestly didn't consider that it would piss people off. Now, this is again, this energy, this motion of God was like, I felt this calling again, but the prayer's been like, allow my voice to vibrate around the world. Like, this is a message that needs to get in more women's hands. And so I had this ping a little while back that I was going to run ads to this masterclass, to this online event, to reach more people, to get this message in front of more women's hands. And it's going to continue to, because this, if you're watching this live with me, incredible. If you're watching this on replay with me, like this is the message, and I am like willing to put it out there and to have the experiences like I've been having this week. Like this is going to continue for me. But on a lot of the comments I've been getting, and this is always fascinating to me, the public comments versus the private comments. I get a lot of comments privately of people loving my work, but the comments on the ads, I've been told this week alone that I'm going to be tortured for eternity, that I am a blasphemist, that I should rot in hell, that God is going to punish me, that I am the worst kind of sinner, the worst kind of sinner, because I speak about God and money. Wow, this makes me so mad. These people don't speak to themselves very kindly. I'm reading some of the comments coming up here. I'm so sorry. Crazy. And here's the thing is that really now it creates no interference in my field. And I feel like often the conversation is it's okay to feel like sad about that. And you might feel sad about that. And you might get upset about that. And you might be hurt about that. And to be honest, I remember that time in my journey where I was like, oh, this sucks. And I'm still going to be speaking about it this, like, let me have, like, let me go into the sadness here. Let me go into like that this really sucks. And I'm gonna share with you right now, like, honestly, I don't think it sucks. So I had somebody reach out to me like, I'm so sorry people are saying these things about you. And I'm like, I'm not, because all this shows me is that I've gotten myself into a place where I've harnessed my power and I'm like, their experience of me is none of my business. I do not know their soul journey. I do not know their human journey. I do not, and I don't need to know, and I don't need to know anything about them, and they don't need to know anything about me. And I can have 500 people, 5 million people tell me that I'm going to be tortured for eternity, and it doesn't fucking matter because I know who I am. I know what I'm here to do. And so it really does get to a place where you're like, right now, it might be so fearful of people. Like, I remember the first time someone told me I was a disgrace to womanhood, it felt heartbreaking. I was definitely very sad. I was like, wait, that actually has nothing to do with me and means nothing about me. And I can't let that stop me from my mission. And so, like I said, I didn't understand this for a long time. It's like, this to me is those Jesus walk moments. It's actually not feeling the charge about it. And if you feel the charge about it right now, again, there's nothing wrong there. But no, this is the journey you're embarking on. This is why you're harnessing your personal power. This is why, in a space like Employed by God, we walk together for 12 months because within those 12 months, things are going to happen. Things are going to come up. Things are going to want to like come in and crush you and have things be dismantled, especially as you step into that space and you stand in conviction and power and truth and you become unwavering. I mean, I'm a woman who shows up online and says, I'm not willing to betray myself. And I will tell you, I have had many, 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 many experiences, especially in the last year, to do so. Will she betray herself here? Will she betray herself here? What about when lies are being told about her? Is this going to make her change her mind? Is this where she's going to enter into self-righteousness? Is this where that victim code is going to come back? And so she's going to show up and need to defend herself. Is this where she's going to decide she needs to control the narrative? People's experience of me is none of my business. And so it's like if their experience of me is none of my business, then I don't need to feel sad, angry, rejected. Things of this nature just get to stop affecting me because I've decided I'm not willing. I'm not willing to put energy there. I'm not willing to control the narrative. Right now, there's a definite, strong, holy fire in my walk. This past month, there's been a lot going on for me. There's been untruths shared, there's been assumptions, there's been projections about me, things that are not true in nature. I'm not going to say lies, but I will say things not true in nature, things that I've devoted my time, my energy, my wisdom to, rumors. And some stated as fact, some stated as assumption and interpretation. I've been asked by clients to tell my side of the story. People want me to defend myself, and sure, I could. Like I could, I have evidence of the contrary, but I've consciously chosen and continue to choose not to. Not because I choose not to. And I mean that's truly it. Because I choose not to. Why? I put my vibration, my truth, my knowing above all else, even above other people's assumptions because I'm not. My frequency first. This is a code I lived by years. Where am I willing to put, what am I willing to put energy towards? And how does this affect my frequency? Does it expand me or does it contract me? Does it keep me still? For me, I'm only interested in choosing and consciously choosing the things that expand me. And so I'm not going to engage in things that don't. Even when I understand the why people want me to share my sign and tell my story. if it doesn't serve me energetically, and I'm putting self first, if it doesn't serve me energetically, I get to say no to it. And then I trust in the expansion that happens around me and where God meets me because of who I choose to be in these moments, not just when it's easy, when it's fucking hard. Can I put my frequency first? Can I decide what I devote my vibration, my truth to? My mission is way more important than this experience. Someone asked me my book, the title for someone who asked here is called Spiritual Smackdown. I was told that it was too shameful to be printed, to be published, and asked, like, why would you want your kids to read that one day? Because my mission is even bigger than that. My mission to impact women around the world, my mission to speak my truth, my mission to break through the barriers of what we right now deem as like shameful conversations we shouldn't be having. So the conversation around infidelity, the conversation around God and money, the conversation that involves, gosh, like one of my favorite chapters in my book is like the rules, like God's rules and the rules we've been taught and the rules that are illusions. All of that matters more to me than anything else, if I'm being quite honest, because this is about me and my walk with God, me and my experience, me and my soul journey. And while I say this about me, know that the same is true for you. I show up and lead in a space like this, not just for you, but honestly for me. This is where I feel so connected to the truth of who I am and so connected to God. This is like my deepest spiritual practice, I would even say. Speaking the truth of who I am and telling the truth about my lived experience and my life, it's the most spiritual thing that we can do as women, as leaders, as entrepreneurs. Being the voice of truth is the most spiritual thing that you can do. I will stand by that forever. God's calling on me right now. I can't get distracted by this. He's also calling on you. So where are you allowing yourself to feed energy that's not in the highest service of you or anyone else? This is where we come in with our human agenda, not our soul agenda, ego-driven, not soul-driven. I feel God calling. You feel God calling. This is why you're here. So don't get distracted by the noise. I woke up in the middle of the night a few months ago, and these words came through, and like middle of the night, I grabbed my phone because I wanted to write them down. And the words were, don't get consumed by the happenings in the human realm when I'm guiding you beyond the human realm. Those words, I feel like God set me up for this months ago. My interpretation of these words is I'm here having a human experience. But if I want to lead in the way I've been called to lead, for my prayers to be answered, the prayer of God to have my voice vibrate around the world, I've also got to not let things like this create hurdles and slow me down. That would be me placing limitation in my field. I don't get paid for who I am when the spotlight is on. I don't get paid for how I show up in this specific training today. That's not why God signs the paychecks. God signs the paychecks because of who I am when the spotlight is off, because of who I am when it's fucking hard, because I could collapse and I choose not to. This is how powerful you are. You can have experiences in your life that call on you to collapse and you don't. In fact, that's when you choose to let it light your holy fire. That's when you choose your truth. That's when your conviction gets fully birthed. That no one else gets to dictate this for you. No one else gets to decide, and nothing outside of you creates limitation in your field unless you allow it to. This is how powerful you are. Only you are responsible, and only you can create limitation in your field. And when there is no limitation, the receiving channel becomes wide fucking open. We're gonna go this wide because this is what my hands can show on the computer screen, but we're like gonna stretch here, like wide open, so available to receive and to receive from all directions, to receive in the way that you can see coming and to receive in the ways that you can't, and to receive like all of it because you're not slowing it down. You're not putting the blockages in the receiving pathway because you're willing to hear, willing to obey, willing to follow the directions and the commands. This for me is the paid by God frequency. This is the employed by God energetics. I'm willing. I'm willing to do the thing that doesn't make sense. And let me tell you, I've done this many times. I've walked away from a business that made multiple seven figures because it felt complete. Even though it was still working, even though I love the clients I was leading in that space, even though some of those clients are still here with me today, it stopped feeling correct for me. It started to feel limiting. It felt like I was staying within my comfort zone. This was a business where I didn't talk about God, where I dabbled in a little bit of energetics, but didn't fully lead in what I lead now and in frequency. And so, of course, that had to be complete in order for this to be birthed. But I didn't wait for the next thing to be birthed. I didn't wait to know. I followed in that moment, that strong intuitive nudge, close that down, let that fall away. Within 2 weeks, I got invited into lead in a new way in a new space and answered the prayer, put the women in front of me, and I'm going to lead them to the truth of who they are. That had been the prayer that year. And then all of a sudden, overnight, I got invited in to lead in a space where there was hundreds and thousands of women who had never heard of me before, and all of a sudden, like literally overnight, that prayer was answered because I moved first. And that wasn't a move in the direction of felt like, oh, this is gonna get you to the next level. This is a shutdown. Like people thought I was insane. People were like, that is like why? Mentors, peers in the industry, they're like, you've built this up. Why would you shut it down right now when it's still working? Can't you hang on to certain parts of it? Can't you just make this evergreen and still do this? It's like, no, it just feels done. And so I'm gonna let it be done. I'm gonna let it be complete. I've recently exited another business contract that I was in because it didn't feel like it allowed for my growth and my expansion. All of a sudden, there was aspects of myself that I was limiting. There was misalignment. And so these are conversations I'm having right now. Like I've walked away from big money on the table. I've walked away from publishing deals in order to stand in the truth of who I am. And that's what allows me to show up here unapologetically because I know I don't waver on the back end. I know I don't compromise in my energy field in order to get a certain result. This is what a walk with God looks like. It's absolute faith when He calls. That, again, willingness to hear, opening ourselves up to hear, and then willingness to follow through. And here's the cool thing about this essence. This is in the like God commanding me essence. Like God commands, I listen, I follow through, God meets me there. But I also command God. Talk about another conversation that tends to make people feel uncomfortable. How does that feel for you when I say, do you also command God? So yes, there's listening, receiving, following through on the commands God gives you. I also command God. This is that essence I talked about earlier of like the expectation frequency on God. Of course, I expect God to show up in deliverance. And so how I command God is through statements of willing and unwillingness. And this is something I invite you to do. Like literally make statements about what you're willing to do and unwilling to do. Now, see this question. I don't have a felt sense of who God is if I'm commanding him. So let's go through this and see what comes up. Like really sit and sink into this and see what feels aligned. And like I've said, some things I'm going to share with you is not going to feel aligned for you. And so don't do it. What employed by God is all about is you following your pathway. Multiple truths get to coexist. Do not ever do something because I've said to. If it feels like it's not in alignment for you, it's not connected for you, like don't do it. We can agree to disagree on things. Like you don't have to do everything that I say. In fact, I don't want you to. I do not want you to like blindly follow my blueprint. But I'm going to share the why behind it, and I'm going to share the energetics behind it so that you can decide for yourself. And so for me, this willing and unwilling frequency, and there's something that's really important that I'm going to state, is that the unwilling frequency, like this is so important, can't be like, I'm unwilling to do this because like my ego's in the way. or like a human agenda. It can't be human agenda driven. It can't be because of like limitation in your beliefs or what you don't want to experience. And so for me, what this sounds like is I'm willing. Like I'm willing to stand in the holy fire. I'm willing to be the truth of who I am no matter what. I'm willing for people to get it and for people to not get it. I'm willing for it to not make sense. I am willing, fill in the blanks for you. What I'm not willing to do is I'm not willing to compromise my truth. I'm not willing to say yes when I want to say no. I'm not willing to do something in order to be liked. I'm not willing to control this narrative. So see how strong I hold in the willing and unwilling frequency. Now, it's not specific of like, I'm not willing to have the experience of people saying that I'm a blasphemist. It's just like, I'm willing for the full human experience and the full soul agenda. And I'm also gonna command you and tell you like where the energetic standards are. I'm not willing to deny my soul. That's the commanding God essence to me. It's like, I'm not willing, God. And so we've got to find a pathway here because I am not willing to do that. I'm not willing to continue to believe the lies that I tell myself. And so show me a new pathway, show me a new truth. Again, often my prayers are quite simple. God, I'm no longer willing to live this story on repeat. And so show me what I can't yet see. Show me what I've been resistance to. Ultimate permission to be more of who you are. And for me, this willing and unwillingness also just shows God that I'm like, I see some of the limitations in my field. I see the fact that I can't see beyond this with my limited human eyes. So show me. I'm open, I'm available, I'm ready, I'm willing to receive. It's such a powerful frequency. And I'm going to share this with you because I really like I really have these like wants for you from these 3 days, from the 11 days in Telegram, from like employed by God if you choose to come into this with me. I feel like we dabble in the things that I'm talking about here. And we'll say things like, oh, yeah, that's a good reminder. And of course, it's a reminder because this is remembrance. Like it is a reminder because it's remembrance. But I want you to walk this way every single day. And this is why Employed by God exists. So that you're in a space where you're held through this walk every single day. Even though we don't meet every single day, the energetics of it is holding you every single day. It's so easy to tune into something like this and feel the power of it and to do the power tracking for a few days and then be like, now life needs to resume. Life needs to resume. And I want to grow this fucking business. And so let me sign up for the strategy course because the strategy course is going to be the thing that gets me there. Or actually, I don't know what to do. And there's this strategy course and there's this God course and like, I don't know what to do. And so I'm just going to hesitate here. I'm just going to wait. I'm just going to not do anything. You've got to be willing to move. And then trusting in the full experience of it. I talked about this in Telegram, in the Telegram channel, being willing for the full human experience. This has also been part, for me of this get paid by God frequency. So, I've been told that what was I told that I'm going to be tortured for eternity, that I'm a blasphemer. Well, I've started doing these Facebook ads and spending money on ads and have it set up that these ads reach women and reach women who I believe will be connected to my work. And 82% of the ads right now are being like 82% of the people seeing my ads have been men. I could sit here and be frustrated and annoyed and say, like, why isn't this working? And why didn't my ads go to the right people? And why aren't more women here? And fuck you, God. Like, why did you do that? But I trust in all of it. I wouldn't sit here and say like, oh, that just like wasted money, that wasted ad spend because I have no idea. I have no idea what God has calling here. And maybe I'm not meant to limit, like there's men that are coming into Employed by God. So maybe the fact that I'm limiting it to women, maybe God's like, nope, this is the thing that we're going to break through here. I have no idea and I don't need to know. But this is where we tend to, again, we go into that victimhood. We go into something's wrong. We go into, I need to fix it. Like my team's been like, should we shut this off? Should we do this? Should we whatever? I'm like, let's just let it ride. Like, let's let it ride. Let's let it roll. let's see what happens here. I choose the role I play in each and every experience. I choose to trust. I choose to allow it to continue to be placed in God's hands, even when I'm like, I could step in and control this a little bit to hopefully work more in the way that I want it to. I trust. I trust in the full experience and all of it. Today's the final day. Today's the final day of Get Paid by God. I have big energy around Get Paid by God. I've got big energy around this launch. I've got big energy around Employed by God. And in fact, what felt very correct for me as I walked away from this contract that paid me $500,000 a year was that that was going to come in very quickly through Employed by God, through Get Paid by God. Now, there's an invitation for me to sit here today. It's the final day of Get Paid by God. It has not yet been a 500K launch. What do I now hold the energy for? Do I say, oh, fuck, why haven't as many people moved here as I wanted to? And it's the final day. Maybe they're not going to move. Maybe I should pivot here. Maybe I should say something different. Maybe I should add a million bonuses. Maybe I should drop the price. Or I can tell myself, this is just the beginning. We're just getting started. I have no idea who's going to say yes right now in this moment, who's going to say yes 5 minutes from now, who's going to say yes 5 days from now, who's going to say yes 5 weeks from now, who's going to say yes 5 months from now, 5 years from now, because that's the vision for Employed by God, that it's running for 5 fucking years in my business and beyond. And so I can't drop the energy now because of what day it is in a certain launch sequence. People do this all the time. I'm going to use this as our example, but let me know if you've ever done this. You have an early bird pricing for something, and not as many people buy the early bird pricing or the pre-sale pricing. So you're like, oh shit, people aren't going to buy it at full price. So now I need to change the offer. Or now I need to just stick to the early bird pricing. Or now I need to add this, this, and this, and this. You drop your belief, you drop the energy right before it's possibly going to happen. That $21 course I first told you about, when I first launched it, the vision was that there was going to be 100 people in it. The day that it started, there was less than 50. By the next day, there was over 100. Because once it was put out into the world, that's when I got the most excited about it. That's when I was like, if you're not in here, you need to be. That's when I talked the most about it. That's when my energy was zinging. That's when I was able to show up and say, this is what's happening in that space. And if you're not in there, like my energy totally changed. And so people were able to come in. But most people would sit there and say, oh, only half the amount of people came in that I wanted to, and this failed, and this didn't work. And then they move on to the next thing. What can I figure out to do it differently next time to get more people in next time? So often we cut off the energy right before the prayer is answered. Like it would honestly be like, I mean, it would just be ludicrous. It would be ridiculous for me to drop the energy right now based on who's moved and who hasn't moved on my timeline. Like I've got to remove my attachment to the timeline because I see you as someone in your power and I want you to move on your timeline, not my timeline. For me, it's like doors are wide open for you to come in. Yes, there's an incentive right now. Employed by God is $222 a month. If you say yes before April 16th, it's $2,222 to pay in full. But that's not because I'm in lack frequency. That's not using something in order to get you to move. That's put out there as an invitation for you to step out of hesitation. That's between you and God, not me and you. I do the thing that I feel called to do. I don't create false urgency. And then I can trust because I have no attachment to you coming in again over the next few days or next year or next month or never. Because my paycheck is not dependent on you. I don't see you as a transaction. I'm getting paid by God no matter what. And if you want to walk the walk with me, you get to, and you get to say yes. And if you say no, I hope that we continue to interact and that you listen to my podcast and you follow on social media. And the next time I do a free training, that you come right back. Because again, remember, God signs my paychecks for who I am, not in transaction to what I do. Can I tell you more about Employed by God, how it looks? That would be your first space with you. I mean, I absolutely can. But let me tell you first, before we get into the full details, I really want you to experience operating in this way and getting paid in this way. Like, I want it so bad for you, but I can't choose it for you. And so, my mission, and you will see this if you follow along the journey, is to continue to shout my mission from the rooftops and let God move the people in the way that He moves. And knowing some will listen, some won't. Like I said, 90 people said no to a mastermind space with me a year ago, and 33 people said yes. And it's none of my business who says yes and who says no, because I, again, can't even stop to look at that. I can't stop to try to convince people. I can't stop to try to get people to move with me. I've just got to move. This is the match for the wealth that I'm here to create, the impact I'm here to have. I remain open to the wealth that wants to move through me whenever it does. And so this is honestly what it feels like. I'm going to share all the details of Employed by God with you in a minute here, and it feels like I'm opening the door. Like I am literally opening the door. And if you want to walk through the door with me, great, you get to. And if you want to walk through the door that someone's holding open beside me, great, you get to. And the invitation is to walk, is to move, is to get in the room. But how you walk, how you move, it really is none of my business. I open the doors and let it flow, however that looks. And I'm willing to trust in the nudges of what it takes to do so. Like I trust in my soul nudge, I trust in your soul nudge, you know. And again, like we really have no idea. This is like the craziest thing. So a couple months ago, I was invited, and I will get to the details of Employed by God in a second here, but I want to share this one final story first. A couple months ago, I was invited to speak on a podcast, and this podcast is filmed in person, and it's Lori Harder's podcast. And she said to me, she's like, "I'd love to do a podcast with you, but are you going to be in LA anytime? Because I want to do it in person." And she sent this to me like literally as I was getting on a plane leaving in LA, and I was like, "Yeah, I can come back. Like, I can come back." Now, this podcast isn't paying me. So it's not a transaction of like, I'm going to be on this podcast and I am going to get paid. But this is a podcast that with a woman that I'm connected with. And it felt like honestly, it felt like God put that invitation there for me. It's one of the top 20 podcasts on Apple. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna fly there. So it's gonna cost money to fly there. It's gonna cost a rental car. It's gonna cost hotels. Like I am choosing to say yes to this because I'm all in. And I'm all in and I trust in whatever way, that looks like. I could also say, like, no, I don't see how this is gonna translate to me getting paid. So I'm gonna say no to that. It's like, again, this is that like making moves because you feel called to make moves, but not needing to see how it's going to play out. Because of that one yes, I literally know that there was women talking about me in a room this week that I never could have imagined. Like women that I have like would be like dreams of to be on their podcast, to read my book, to collaborate with. And I know this because I do know one of the women that was in this room. And she like sent me this message. She's like, oh my God. She's like, one woman just asked us, she said, have you ever heard of Jacqueline Shaw? And then the room started buzzing about you. And she said that she heard of you because of Lori Harder's podcast. And now there's invitations literally opening up for me right now. And sharing this because like you really don't know the power of one yes. One yes is opening right now for me, like opportunities for bigger podcasts, for stages. Like this is the answer to a prayer I've been saying for years. So not needing to control it, letting God be the source, the employer, the appointment setter. Or we can look through the lens of lack. I think about this in connection to the first stage I spoke at years ago. And that I get also was I wasn't getting paid to speak on that stage like now I often do. But that came at, my family was moving from Canada to Costa Rica. So we flew to Costa Rica. Then 7 days I flew back to speak at this event in Austin. And so there was, again, not just like the financial commitment of the flights and the hotel and the meals, but also the time away from my family. And my business partner at the time was coming as well. And her husband didn't honestly like it. He didn't love it. He was like, why would you go someplace where it costs you to go? Like, shouldn't they be paying you? So see, there's the look through like the lack, or the abundance. The abundance is I get paid no matter what I do. And so following the nudges, I felt the nudge to be on that stage. And I will tell you, once I was on that stage, I knew I was born for the stage. So it's like I needed to have that experience in order to get to the place where I now charge people and make money being a keynote speaker on stages. So not only that, did that experience come through? Did I decide from that experience that I know and feel it in my body, my being, that I was born for the stage? I also met so many soul clients in that room, women that I've continued to work with from years by looking through the lens of abundance, not lack. And we often look through the lens of lack when we're only looking in the moment of like, well, does this make sense for my bank account right now? Let things move you. Let things expand you. Say yes because you want to fucking say yes, and then let God figure out the rest. God as my CEO, God as the appointment setter, God as the signer of the paychecks. Is being open to allow God in on all of it, not just on the money piece, all of it. You get paid by God when God's free to move. So we can either block the flow or hold the vision beyond what you even think is possible, not needing to see it, not needing to know it. My knowing here is enough. I know the power of my work. So I don't need the evidence to know that this launch, I don't need the evidence of this launch selling out. I don't need the evidence of this launch replacing the income that I've just walked away from. I don't need the evidence of that to know that that's what's going to be because I already know. I already know the power of my work, and I don't wait for somebody else to decide the power of my work. We haven't even started the offer yet, and I know the power of it. I know the results people will get. I know that in 7 weeks, you're going to be hearing testimonials from the first 7 weeks because for the first 7 weeks, we're doubling down. This offer is a 12-month offer. And over the 12 months, we meet once a week on Zoom and once a week for a big, expansive mastermind session. And each week is going to look slightly different. And there's going to be transmissions and there's going to be channeled wisdom and there's going to be hot seat coaching. And the room gets served by the collective. Whoever sits in the hot seat serves the entirety of the room. The first 7 weeks, we're laying the foundation. The first 7 weeks is where we're really dropping in to remove any disruption frequency to see where there's interference here. And so I stand in this right now. I stand in this. I stand in the knowing of it before you've even moved. And I'm pausing here because I really want you to feel this for yourself. When do you wait? When do you tend to know that what you have is gold? Once people buy it? Once people start delivering it? Or do you know the moment the idea was placed within you? Because more people will move when you're in your power, when you're in your conviction with this. Employed by God, the tagline of employed by God is conviction creates visibility and visibility creates wealth. This is when God signs the paychecks. And so the conviction, the power comes first, and then everything else gets amplified. So each week, we're stepping deeper into conviction, power, truth, frequency, becoming a magnet for the wealth, becoming a magnet for the soul clients. And you feel it in here. And it's the most powerful thing that you will experience. I promise you that. Because conviction collapses time. Conviction allows people to move towards you because they feel clarity in your field. They feel the authority that you have, that you hold, and they move. Without conviction, I mean, anyone resonating with this right now, you feel like you have an engaged audience, but an audience who doesn't move. You have offers that feel so aligned for you, but they're not selling. They're selling the slowest. Your voice feels powerful, but it's not converting because you're going in and out of this stream. You're going out and in of this field, in this position of conviction. You're not holding that full authority of who you are. It's not about teaching you what to think and employed by God. It's about you in motion, you in movement. And so we start on April 16th. And this is an offer that you can come in beyond April 16th. But April 16th, the first 7 weeks, like I said, the first 7 weeks, we're diving into 7 core principles that set the foundation for employed by God. And so these 7 core principles are claiming your authority. This is really where we identify where you dilute truth, where you soften your voice, where you override your knowing. And we're going to place those, we're going to pattern interrupt so that you replace that with conviction. The second foundation is activating your creator frequency. So learning and really implementing, embodying movement and creation from source rather than your mind, rather than from analytics, trusting the messages and the decisions that arrive for you and moving with speed, moving without resistance, letting God catch up, letting God sign the paychecks because you're willing to move. The third pillar is becoming the path of least resistance. So noticing and removing the ways in which you hesitate, the ways in which scarcity is creeping into your field, where you're overthinking and blocking what you've asked God to move through you. 4 is where we're diving in for a teaching, a transmission around voice activation. So this is really, and this is one of the ones I'm most excited for. Like this is sharpening the statements you stand behind so that your message becomes unmistakable. So that when people hear certain words, they think of you. They feel your essence, they feel your energy, even if somebody else says it, because your authority gets felt. The 5th one is God signing your paychecks. And so this is where we're going to go deeper in the recalibration of your relationship with visibility, with receiving, with wealth, with the things that we've been talking about here, like that you're willing to be misunderstood and not need to convince, not need to defend, not need to explain. So your income starts reflecting your conviction. We're going deep into money codes, deep into money codes so that we're not sourcing from past evidence. And the 7th pillar is showing the fuck up. Like you are going to step so powerfully into the unapologetic nature of you so that you can move when truth arrives without leaving the back door open. Because this is what we often do too, is we wait for certainty. We have the back door slightly open so we have a quick getaway if it doesn't work. You're going to be able to stand so powerful. And this is the first 7 weeks. So the first 7 weeks, we're doubling up on sessions. We're going to have 2 sessions almost every week. I'm leading my in-person experience called Without Words for one of those weeks. So one week we're only having one call because the rest of that week I'm in silence and the participants are in silence of that experience. But outside of that, so there's going to be 13 sessions delivered in Zoom over the next 7 weeks, starting April 16th. So one this Thursday, one on Friday. You have until then to get in at the price that you can get in at right now. I'm seeing people with their emotional authority. So this is going to give you time to ride your emotional wave. $222 until April 16th, $2,222 paying full for the entire year. Now, I'm going to say something about emotional authorities here. I'm an emotional authority. And so I love when I'm selling to offer time for people to feel into their emotional waves. I also am going to tell you that oftentimes telling yourself that you need to ride an emotional wave, if there isn't one, is what puts you into an emotional wave. So if you've already felt the nudge from God to say yes, and you haven't moved yet because you're like, I'm an emotional authority, I need to ride the wave, you might be putting limitation in your field right there. If there isn't actually a wave. If there's a wave, definitely honor it. But for me, I often feel this nudge, and then because I hesitate, the wave happens. How many people resonate with this right now? I feel like there's a clear signal. I feel the yes. And then when I don't move, I start to overthink. I start to overanalyze that the emotions take over. That's because you're not moving when God calls you to move. And then you're using your emotional authority as the excuse. This is, again, you're going to start to see these patterns so clearly inside Employed by God. There's a reason why it's a year. It's a year because you might have a breakthrough right here, right now. Like breakthroughs, I'm going to tell you, are the easy thing. It's easy to have a breakthrough for a moment. Living from that breakthrough consistently is not. And so week after week, decision after decision, you're going to be calibrating in pristine alignment to conviction, power, truth. This is what's going to literally light a flame to your visibility. It's going to amplify your voice, and it's going to get you paid and get you paid abundantly. God meets you in the frequency that you move into. And I can't say that enough because you are not waiting on God. God is ready, willing, available to move as soon as you do. So you've got it here, $222 a month or $2,222, but only for a few more days. And I'm going to tell you a tiny bit more about the nature of this and why the structure. And so it's weekly mastermind sessions. So again, we meet every single week on Zoom for a deep dive session. It's really designed to have you plug in and then go do your thing. I want you to lead in your business. I want you to be the creator that you are. I want you to live your life and get paid for it. So it's not about sitting behind a screen. It's not a loop of over-consuming and information on top of information being delivered at you. It's you, me, the field, moving, shifting, recalibrating, power being activated, voice being activated, truth being activated, money flowing, because we're all embodied in the employed by God frequency. Every single person that comes into that space is going to have that commitment to self and commitment to the field, commitment to the people that you sit beside. And you're going to come up and you're going to be live for some sessions and you're not going to be live for other sessions, and you're going to receive because you receive the most through questions you don't even ask anyways. I will tell you, there's a reason why women stay in my world. Just this weekend, I had 2 women who are in my mastermind right now ask me, what comes next for us? Do we come into employed by God? Like, women stay in my world for years and years and years. I've shared with you, some of the women who are here today have been in my world since 2019. Women stay in my world because they experience something that most spaces never offer: consistency of truth, consistency of power. And when you're held in a space where there's consistency of truth and consistency of power, you really can't help but calibrate. Like, this is what it takes for your authority to strengthen, for your decisions to start moving faster. It's where your message becomes sharper, clearer, your leadership becomes undeniable. And this is where wealth meets you. This is becoming the energetic match to the wealth that already wants to move through you, already wants to move through you, already en route to you. It's you stepping forward, standing in it, and claiming it. And so if you feel this call, the link is going to be sent to you in email. I'll drop it here right now. If you're live right now and you're like, nope, I'm not even waiting for the email because there is no hesitation in my field and I'm going all in and I want God to know it right this very moment, I'll drop the link for you here. It's like a Q&A and teaching session is what I'm hearing. It's everything, to be honest. And so the first 7 weeks is going to be more transmission, more teaching, more channeled wisdom, similar to this, and also with hot seat coaching coming up. I will tell you, the way that I really am powerful in my mentorship is I feel everything in energetics. And so you'll have someone sitting in a hot seat and all of a sudden they ask a question and I'm able to mentor them, and then it opens up and I mentor the collective, and it's feeling into the energy and moving the energy. And so yes, people will come up and they'll get to ask questions and they'll get to be mentored directly. And it's a whole experience. I mean, it is a mastermind experience that really is designed to be experienced. These, for me, masterminds have forever been. I entered my first mastermind in 2019. I ran my first mastermind in 2019. I am like the queen of masterminds. I've been running masterminds ever since, in this sort of style with calls, in Telegram masterminds, because of how quickly it shifts things. Masterminds will forever be my favorite playground to enter as a client and to host as a mentor, because some of the biggest breakthroughs that you're about to have, I will absolutely tell you, will not come from a question you think to ask. Because again, what have we talked about here? You can only see from what you've experienced. And so you're going to ask the questions that make sense for you to ask based on what you think is going to move the needle for you and create more impact for you and get you more visible and create more wealth. But all of a sudden, I'm going to be mentoring Shelly and she's going to ask something and I'm going to say a response and you're going to be like, oh my God, that's fucking it for me. And I never would have seen this and I never would have thought to ask this. And holy shit, I just had this breakthrough and I can't even fucking believe it. This is how a mastermind with me works because we trust that God's in the co-creative field with us. You will not walk away from this experience the same as you are today. Everything in your field will be expanded. Right now, it is $222 a month because I want you to be able to move. I want you to say yes the instant that you feel it. $2,222 for an entire year in this field, in this energy with us. And I'm also offering one other piece to this because some of you have also asked, what if I want more? What if I want more? Do I have any one-to-one spaces? I rarely open up one-to-one spaces. And so these spaces are very limited. I rarely open up one-to-one. And I feel the call to right now with this offer. And so these one-to-one spaces are only available to people who come into Employed by God. And so it means you say yes to Employed by God. And then if you want to, you can add one-to-one sessions with me throughout the year. There's two options. You can add 5 one-to-one calls with me that you get to choose when you use over the year. And it's $10K for that package of 5 one-to-one calls. Or you can come in and say you want 10 one-to-one calls with me in addition to Employed by God for $15K. So over the year, 5 one-to-one calls with me, 10 one-to-one calls with me is the upgrade if you want to come in and have one-to-one on top of the Employed by God Mastermind. But again, spots for that are limited. Those you'll have to reach out to me privately if you want the link for that. Only available to people inside Employed by God. These spots will only get opened up maybe right now, maybe once, maybe one other time within this year. I will also be right up front and tell you that if you book these sessions with me, you come in for 5 calls or 10 calls. These sessions can't be booked in July and August because I choose to. Because I choose that right behind these trees is a beautiful, gorgeous beach. And I'm going to be out on a boat all summer on that beach. And those of you inside Employed by God are going to get to drop in with me every week. And I'm going to like bring the living makes me money fucking frequency full force. I live what I teach. I create offers in the way that I preach. And so I don't compromise anything in my field. And as a result, you're coming in to walk with a mentor whose field is pristine. And then you recognize and you give yourself permission to do life and to do business exactly the way you fucking want to as well. And then God signs the paychecks because in your field, there's no sacrifice, there's no resistance, there's no hesitation. And God's like, this woman understands the fucking assignment. And so if you are ready for this, please come in with me. Thank you so, so much for being here with me today throughout these last 3 days. If you're inside the Telegram space, we're still running there for a few more days live. And so I will see you in that Telegram space. I will see you inside Employed by God. You have access to these replays. You can come back and listen. Again, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I cannot wait to see you wherever I see you next. Sending you in love. And that's all for today.